I'm hearing reports there are troops on the ground. This might actually be a lot worse than just a bombing. Are they just expecting to kill Maduro and have the army give up? I don't understand what the long-term plan is here. Like, the Iraq war, killing and replacing Saddam Hussein and the Iraqi government was like a multi-year process. We spent a year planning. We had to occupy the entire country. Even if we had a successful decapitation strike, what happens after that? One of Maduro's cronies takes over? Like, you're not going to replace the entire political infrastructure of the country. I know what they want here. What they want is to replace Venezuelan leadership with, leadership that's favorable to American business interests. That's always what we've been doing. That's always been the plan everywhere. I don't really understand, like, how, though? The shit-ass lady? Yeah, but, like, if the shit-ass lady took over right now, they would just, like, kill her. They would like it took a lot of effort to replace Saddam Hussein, you know? Like, it wasn't just they took out Saddam Hussein specifically and then the next guy took over or whatever. They had to level the entire government and replace all of it from the ground up. And it didn't even work. And then we got ISIS. I just don't understand. There's like no public support for this, right? Even Iraq 2003, when it happened, had major support. Yeah, they embarked on like a year-long campaign to manufacture consent before the invasion of Iraq, and they did so with the United Nations, and there was a big military plan. In this case, like there's none of that, you know? There's actually footage from this is from this is from the Franco years. This is from the Spanish Civil War. Exactly. Tanks have been deployed by the Venezuelan armed forces in Caracas. I would really like to know what's going on down there, because if they really are sending people on ground, they're going to get killed. Like, it's one thing to conduct a bombing run, but flying helicopters over an enemy capital and then landing people, like, what do you think you're going to do? Just fly out afterwards? The Venezuelan military isn't exactly strong, but they can shoot down helicopters, right? Like, there's a real threat. We place a high priority on not losing servicemen, you know? It's you get in, sure. Are you getting out? The fact that they were willing to commit that many resources to doing this, whatever the fuck this is, makes me wonder if there's going to be a follow-up. Like, if they're sending people in like this, if they're sending like troops on the ground, if they're sending special forces in there to conduct some decapitation strike or whatever else, are they following that up? Are they going to be alone out there? Venezuela has zero counter defense. Well, not zero. You know, it's always possible to lose a helicopter. The U.S. is ostensibly really good at establishing air supremacy. Yeah. But what I'm saying is these are helicopters. You can fire a missile from the ground. That's what I mean. Flying helicopters over an enemy capital when they could have... You don't even need a missile. You can shoot a helicopter down with a conventional firearm. You know, like they're flying really low. It's insanely risky. The fact that they're taking the risk makes me wonder if they have more armor to back it up. Like, is this a real invasion? Looks like we're taking over an airport. That's exactly what we would do if we were trying to follow it up with like with a full invasion. 4 minutes ago, new notice to airmen issued by the U.S. FAA regarding airspace over Venezuela prohibits all flights over the entire country's territory starting at 6 a.m. on January 3rd. Oh, boy. We might actually be invading. Like, it's not just a bombing run. We might actually be prepping the capital for... 6 a.m. is kind of a late start, though. Is it too early to blame Israel for this? No, never. Never. Not saying they shouldn't be taken out of combat, but the optics will be terrible. Nah, fuck it. Fuck the optics, Froggy, on this, dude. We're invading a country for no fucking reason, okay? I'm tired of the shit. Remember the Iraq War? Remember how the dickless liberal media could come up with to criticize the Iraq War was like, criticize the war, support the warrior, you know? We support our troops, which is why we don't want to send them over there. But man, I'm sorry. At least with Iraq, they tried to manufacture consent. With this one, they're not even fucking trying, dude. Also, those Chinooks do not have regular U.S. infantry in them, okay? Those are special forces. Those people are psychopaths. Special forces units in every country, not just America, are made up of sociopaths. They're the cream of the crop. The whole point of the military is that you get 100 people who are desperate for healthcare and education together, and you put them through training, and you put them in situations where you get to test them. And of those 100 people, 3 or 4 of them will be actual blood psychopaths. People who enjoy killing, who want to rape and kill, who have no moral qualms whatsoever. Those are called special forces. You take those people, you put them in the core team. Those are the people who actually get the work done 99% of the time. From the president of Colombia, right now they're bombing Caracas, alert to the whole world, they've attacked Venezuela. Oh boy. US polling is overwhelmingly negative on this, by the way. Yep. Nobody wants this. The UN must meet immediately, Lamau. Listen, okay, his toolbox here is limited. What do higher up politicians sans Trump gain from this? Business, as we all know, businessmen, like the upper crust, the bourgeoisie, are not human. They are voracious, greedy blobs of money and avarice that want to claim anything and everything. It's why they're still competing over who gets to be the wealthiest man when we're now dealing with multiple people who have hundreds of billions of dollars in their assets, okay? Every one of them wants to get everything up on everyone else, all right? There is no limit to this. There's no practical need for it. And one of the ways that you can expand your business, if you work in oil, coal, gas, whatever, if you want to create more and more of a natural monopoly, okay, is to engage in this Cold War-ass behavior of invading countries that nationalize their own natural resources. This is literally where we got the term banana republic from, by the way, doing this exact shit. And it was the same back then too. It had nothing to do with rationality. It's not like we're solving problems. There's not like a logistical problem that we have with the world that could be solved or mitigated. There's not like an explanation or a justification or anything. They just want everything. They're just demons. There's no, you can't, what do they gain from this? The point isn't that they gain. Would you make a deal with the devil thinking like, well, there's no reason for him to fuck me over. They're just like that, man. The scorpion as it sinks into the river. Lol, Lamau. This is just what they do. Look, the real line right now is, are we dick waving? Or are we securing the airport so we can land armor there? Because that's the line between invasion and like special forces operation. Obviously, whatever we're doing right now still constitutes an attack and an invasion. But I'm talking about the arbitrary bullshit US-led guidelines of international combat here. Okay, that's the line of severity, right? Wait, isn't Venezuela besties with Russia and China? Not like bestie, but yeah, sure. They're in the same camp. The local military airport is too small for our large transports to reasonably land on effectively. If we were to do an invasion, we would need to secure the nearby international airport. Maybe? I don't know. I feel like that's a very detail-oriented claim. That's a very like specifics-oriented claim that I would need more information to. This just in, U.S. Air Force disables nearly all of its transponders. Yeah. You could land C-130s, but our larger transports wouldn't be able to land there? Maybe. This shit has to be impeachable. Everything the president has done is impeachable. Anyone can impeach. Will they impeach him? No. These can't have been lawful orders. These orders are objectively illegal.
Venezuela has become a hotbed for every adversary of the United States to operate in the Western Hemisphere. Hezbollah has operations. The terrorist group Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, has operations that are that have been widely reported.
Okay, we're invading Venezuela to defend ourselves against Hamas or something. We're bombing Hamas tunnels.
To be based in Venezuela. Iran is operating in Venezuela. Russia, China. It has become sort of the satellite state for the countries who we consider our adversaries and who are bent on.
Voice of Dr. Julian Epstein, Dem strategist. Wonderful. It feels inaccurate for the title to say America bombs Venezuelan capital. I feel like American invasion of Venezuela begins is more accurate. This is not just a random bombing run. I'm absolutely geeked right now. What the fuck is happening? It's time. We're being drafted, boys. Get your goddamn... What a way to fuck up a high. It's the second day of the new year. You're trying out shrooms. You've got a trip sitter with you. You check your phone to like load up some chill beats to relax to or whatever. You see the going live notification because you ring the bell like all good subscribers of my channel do. You tune in. It takes you 15 seconds to navigate the UI to get to my stream, and now you're here. Hey Vosh, there's a bunch of strata tankers off the coast. Can I get a confirmation on that? I wouldn't really say off the coast here, but yeah. Like, very off the coast. Just regular-ass planes over here, just fucking running. Just running. Man, look at them. Nope. 20, 30 minutes ago? No, I don't think so. Yeah, that's the stratotanker. Look at the destination, NA. Well, yeah, I mean, they were probably headed to Caracas or something in Venezuela. Now they're like, fuck. I guess we're going to Colombia. Are airplanes being diverted? Yeah, airspace has been closed. I mean, technically, we don't have the legal authority to declare airspace closed over Venezuela, but in a practical sense, we do have the martial authority to declare the airspace closed over Venezuela, you know? It's kind of a might makes right situation. Right there. The stratotanker is likely sitting in wait for the C-130 sitting in eastern Puerto Rico. I just want to know where the fuck our fleet is. Are we, PVID, John Marquis spoke the direction of a base, number of military academies. Yeah, we struck the home of their Minister of Defense. The defense minister is unreachable. Yeah, he might be dead. Where is it confirmed there are boots on the ground? We sent Chinook helicopters in. We sent troop carriers in. Like, this isn't a drone strike or whatever. We sent like transport. What are Chinook helicopters? You've seen them before in fiction. You are immediately familiar with their shape. It's like the classic. This is the one where 20 guys go hoop 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 and run inside, and then when they land, then a bunch of guys with like black ski masks jump out and do whatever. It's the transport helicopter. They're fun to ride in. Oh, I'm sure. Check out the Pentagon pizza tracker. I'm sure. Full statement from the Venezuelan government on U.S. airstrikes. They might not just be airstrikes. They probably aren't just airstrikes. The Bolivarian government of Venezuela rejects, repudiates, and denounces before the international community the grave military aggression perpetuated by the current government of the United States. Violation of the UN Charter, The objective of this attack is to seize none other than Venezuela's strategic resources. 200 years of independence, the people and their legitimate government stand firmly in defense of sovereignty. Since 1811, the Venezuelans confronted and defeated empires when foreign powers bombarded our shores in 1902. Apparently, some Chinese officials were in Venezuela as of 4 hours ago. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, they've got an embassy. Mamdani's America. It doesn't matter. The UN's not going to do anything for Venezuela here. Neither is China. It's pretty much just us and them, you know?
But again, we did not hear from President Trump today. We have not heard from him since New Year's Eve. But it is notable, again, that the president was talking about wanting peace. And last year, Chanley, the U.S. struck 7 different countries around the world. That does not include the dozens of strikes.
Yeah, but he did stop 8 wars, so.
In the Caribbean, Eastern Pacific against those alleged drug boats. And we've been seeing this build up, and
they took down live UAMAP.
Happen, very rarely.
Can you confirm that?
Do they stand down? And we haven't seen any reports of U.S. military forces going home. We've seen a few flights return, but again,
I don't think they took it down. I think that the website is currently crashing because 50 billion people are looking at it.
It's been this daily ramp up to this moment in.
Oh, what do you think sanctions on the U.S. will look like? I don't. Why do you think other countries won't do shit? Why would they? Doesn't Trump always say America has the most oil on earth? Why do we need Venezuelan oil? We don't. We don't need it. Nobody needs it. It's not even profitable to go after it. It would be cheaper right now to simply build more oil platforms off American shores than it would be to extract that oil from Venezuela. Like, there are oil companies in America right now are choosing not to do it here because it is not profitable enough to do so. So is it war for war's sake? Yes. What do you think sanctions on the U.S. will look like? As I just said, I don't. There will be no sanctions on the United States. What country is going to sanction the U.S.? Probably Venezuela. Maybe. Seriously, what was the last U.S. president that wasn't a war criminal? I mean, it really depends on your definition of war criminal, okay? It's just for MIC money, or do you literally mean no reason? I literally mean no reason. It's not going to make anyone money. Well, it's an excuse to divert resources towards the MIC, but they were doing that anyway. It really is for no reason. It's not new. Dying empires engage in fruitless, self-destructive wars all the time. It's like one of the main types of war, you know? I don't think it's an Epstein distraction because I really don't think Trump is orchestrating this. Again, Marco Rubio is probably a much more active aggressor here. I think it's just an inertial thing. They're demons and they want to expand, and they're all like bragging to each other about how they're going to do this and that. They're gonna do all the based and red-pilled shit, all the stuff they've always talked about. They want to do it while Trump's in office because he's the only guy that would let them. They're jerking off right now. CBS confirmed Trump gave the order to strike. Well, okay, they'll say he gave the order. He has to officially give the order, right? He has to put down the big red stamp. They wouldn't do it literally without his involvement on any level.
In Venezuela. That was the first confirmed strike that President Trump made. Recall, Eric, this has been a long time coming. The last time we heard from President Trump talking about strikes in Venezuela was on December 22nd, just before Christmas. He's been saying for weeks that he is going to...
The cartels, what they're going to put forward as a justification for this? Are we being for real? Yeah, it seems like it does not speak well to the base of support this administration is going to get. In this invasion, if even their cheerleaders over at Fox News are being like, well, it might not be us, we don't really know the details.
Perhaps Iran, because in the back and forth of the rhetoric, it was if the Iranian regime was trying to use in an asymmetric fashion a terrorist attack against the United States, and they were using their assets that they have in Venezuela, that could have been a trigger for this. If, say, the Venezuelans were preparing to attack U.S. forces, that could have been a preemptive strike against those forces as well. But the most interesting one, which also I think needs to be considered, is that it could be an internal or the cartels themselves trying to rise up to take out Maduro.
It's the cartels sending a bunch of Chinook helicopters to do a bombing run over Caracas. Yeah, man. Just classic. Down, 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 down,
or internal, a military coup, not unlike how Hugo Chavez first tried to come to power. So all of the above still in the cards. The only losers in the end of this, if the regime actually collapses, is the Chinese, the Russians, and the Iranians at the end of the day. And the Venezuelan people, I think, no matter what happens, I think they will have a better future free of this narco state
to wave the
flag. For the last
the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, you just raised something really fascinating. A narco state. What if it is the cartels? Would a cartel puppet take over, or would how could that potentially play out if indeed this is from the cartels or an internal coup?
I mean, yes, Maduro's been, in the last day, for the second time, at least publicly, we know, he's offered to sell out the cartels. He's offered to sell out the Russians and the Chinese to cut a deal to survive, to save his own neck with the United States, and President Trump hasn't been.
Just a phenomenal lack of competence from these people, Like, not the guy you want repping Fox News at 3 a.m. Eastern time when the bombs start going off in Caracas, yeah, who do we have live with the broadcast right as the bombs started dropping? Yeah, we had a guy who was coping and pretending that it was some kind of internal coup. Not too proud of this, huh?
So, he certainly is not making friends on his side, and I think that's a very distinct possibility that can't be ruled out. And if, in fact, the cartels are the ones, and they're able to put in a new power broker, what's going to have to happen is, with all the pressure that's been brought to bear on the cartel networks because of the attacks on their transit and logistics, their ships at sea, they're going to need the help of the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians. And it'll be a really big question to see what we wake up to in the next few hours, what comes out of Moscow and Beijing and Tehran on this issue. It'll be very enlightening.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Good morning, Eric.
Can't wait to have a fucking aneurysm all day tomorrow, watching every single news outlet in America refuse to say anything negative about this. It's going to be like light criticism from MSNBC. Every, CNN, New York Times, CBS, whatever, they're all going to be hemming and hawing over it. Well, they were like a cartel narco state. So in a way, it is like self-defense. Schumer comes out. He's mainly angry that he wasn't informed beforehand.
Major escalation of the conflict between the United States and Venezuela. U.S. officials...
Not a conflict between America and Venezuela. It's just us bombing them, dog. It really wasn't a back and forth.
Confirmed to Fox News that U.S. military strikes have been launched against Venezuela early this morning. We've seen for a few hours now these scenes of explosions in Venezuela's capital of Caracas against U.S. military targets. Officials say the U.S. military launched this attack on Venezuela on the orders of President Trump. And we are awaiting a statement from the White House and a Truth Social post, perhaps, from the president confirming. But we've seen dramatic video in the last hour showing explosions in Venezuela targeting Nicolas Maduro's military sites. We've seen video of U.S. Army helicopters flying over Venezuela, and this all comes after this dramatic buildup of the U.S. military in the Caribbean in recent months. You had the aircraft. Good morning, Eric.
Tonight, do you think that... And what message tonight do you think that they're receiving in Tehran and Moscow and Beijing?
You better watch out, because President Trump is serious. And I think that, as we've seen with some of the actions and words around Tehran, that President Trump is the first president in...
Is it just me, or have reporters gotten worse at speaking cogently on air over the years? The entire ruling class of America has been increasingly addled with time, whether it be inebriation, drugs, pedophilia, or incest, I have no idea, but the collective conscience of the American ruling class has dissolved into a sludge. However evil they are now, I promise you one thing, and one thing for sure, because they were plenty evil back 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, but any newsman or any politician from the 1960s could run circles around ours today. Just politicians and newsmen, not people generally. I'm not saying the average guy from 1960 was smarter than the average guy today. I'm saying the average, CBS host, definitely CBS, from the 60s could just lap anyone working at the, anyone presenting from CBS today.
Quite a long time to make a difference in Iran, with his strong reaction, his support of Israel, his strong reaction to the Iranian regime, increasing their efforts in enriching uranium and things like that. He bombed Tehran, of course, and bombed military sites there. President Trump is showing to the world, to the enemies of the United States and the enemies of the West, that he is serious and that he will take action when necessary.
And what message tonight do you think that they're receiving in Tehran and Moscow and Beijing?
You better watch out, because President Trump is serious. And I think that, as we've seen with some of the actions and words around Tehran, that President Trump is the first president in quite a long time to make a difference in Iran, with his strong reaction, his support of Israel, his strong reaction to the Iranian regime, increasing their efforts in enriching uranium and things like that. He bombed Tehran.
He already said that line. I know, it repeated. I just can't...
that multiple military installations may have been the targets of these airstrikes. And it bears repeating once again, for those just joining us, we have yet to hear from the White House or the Pentagon for any confirmation that it was the U.S. government, although...
Not having any statement prep from the Pentagon is absolutely fucking insane, by the way. I have no idea what is going on over there. The idea of them doing this midnight invasion and not having like an immediate press briefing to like assume control. The crazy thing is our media is so complacent that they're going to let it roll. Like every good little boy, every little fucking dog of the US establishment working at CNN, whatever, are going to be waiting there hand and knee for the narrative to repeat as soon as they get it from Trump on Truth Social or from Hegseth from the Pentagon. There will be no consequences for the Pentagon refusing to immediately take control of the narrative.
Venezuela's government is already blaming the U.S. for this series of airstrikes.
Gabe Gutierrez continued reporting for us regarding the situation in Venezuela right now. Gabe, we really appreciate it. Gabe, we appreciate it. We're going to have you stand by for just a moment. Just reminding people that this all started just before 2 a.m. local Venezuelan time. Let's go back to Richard Engel. Richard?
Very interesting what Gabe was talking about, potential targets, main military site in Caracas, other locations, mountain sites around the city, a strong indication that this was a coordinated attack.
Really?
That this was something that had a high degree of planning.
Oh, that's cool. It wasn't just random. We didn't just randomly march these the correspondents. They have nothing to say. Because the only thing there is to say about this really is, holy shit, this is fucking insane. But they can't say that because they have to sane wash everything the administration does. So instead they're like, yes, it seems they deliberately piloted those helicopters into Caracas. It wasn't an accident.
We're still awaiting the ultimate confirmation, but it seems like it would only be the United States that would do something like this, considering the context, considering the boat strikes, considering the land strikes in a remote area a couple of weeks ago. A major escalation targeting the Maduro regime, targeting the military. It is, of course, the military that sustains Maduro. Maduro's a dictator. He's considered illegitimate by most of the world. He won an election that has been widely discredited. The military helps keep him in power. Now targeting the military directly, a sign to the military that they could lose if they continue to back Maduro. So the situation has clearly.
Right, they're all in the same camp, man. It doesn't matter how much they pretend otherwise. They're all in the same camp, offering defenses of the invasion for literally no reason here. Oh yeah, Maduro wasn't like democratic enough, so basically it was like fine that we invaded him, you know? The implicit suggestion being that we have the moral right and obligation to engage in military action against every country that doesn't meet our standards of good democracy. America is certainly not a perfect democracy. Here is the statement you should be looking for. America bombs Venezuelan capital. Do you see it here? Explosions reported in Venezuelan capital Caracas. Wow, who did it? Live, Venezuela's capital hit by explosions. Caracas blames the U.S. Oh, so they're the ones who say we did it? Well, they're biased. Venezuela's government accuses U.S. of attacking civilian military installations in multiple states. Well, they said it. I mean, I don't know if it's true. My understanding is that journalism is about uncovering the truth. I don't know why you're not saying what they did. Venezuela's capital rocked by explosions as aircraft fly over city. Aircraft, really? What aircraft? Aircraft? Really? You're missing a designation here. That's interesting. Multiple explosions rock Venezuelan capital Caracas. Venezuela says it rejects military aggression by the U.S., again, framing this as an opinion issue, as though it's Venezuela's judgment that they're being bombed by the U.S., as though that's not like an objective fact. At least 7 explosions in low-flying aircraft are heard in Venezuela's Caracas. Really? Which low-flying aircraft? Live updates, explosions reported in Venezuela's capital, Caracas. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them. All the time. It's all of them. Every single one. I found one that says it. It's a rogue CBS staffer. Okay, Barry Weiss is asleep. She had a hard day of sending 3 emails, and she's no longer awake to monitor the people beneath her. And we got one of them going crazy style right now. I love you, but I gently disagree. It's still early hours, so responsible reporting is to maintain some lack of 100% certainty. Nah, bullshit. Literally nothing about good journalism requires you to not report on what is known to be the truth because you're hemming and hawing over it. And also, Trump is litigious even if you cross your T's and dot your I's. Trump is litigious even if you tell only the factual truth. Trump sued CBS over deceptively editing the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. They then released the full interview. There were no deceptive edits, and then they settled the lawsuit for money anyway. No, you cannot capitulate to this administration. On Truth Social, now at last we know that it was us. The US of A has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. Oh, shit. Holy shit. Well, that explains the fucking Chinooks. Jesus Christ. Could be disinfo. Well, sure, I mean, he lies about everything, but I think we can reasonably assume this is true. Yeah, I guess it was a decapitation strike. They actually got him alive? I guess that's why the Venezuelan military wasn't doing anything. Their leader was just gone. Yeah, holy shit. We just abducted a sovereign nation's president and his wife. Has this literally ever happened before? Chat, I'm kind of blanking. Can somebody... What's another example? Panama? Saddam, maybe? No, not Saddam. Hitler did this to Mussolini. That's different, okay? That's different. Noriega from Panama? Yeah, okay. Jesus Christ. Does something like this cascade into a larger war? Dude, we're gonna do a fucking show trial of the president of Venezuela. Holy shit. It's not going to cascade into a larger war. Oh, sorry, I unmuted that accidentally. This isn't going to cascade into a larger war with the US. This might lead to an insane power vacuum in Venezuela, though. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to think of what, like, the ramifications of this are going to be. Can Maduro even be tried in the U.S. court? I mean, we can do whatever we want, you know, because we're powerful. I'm kind of reeling from this. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea. We're a fucking rogue state, dog. It's insane. We're a goddamn rogue state. I mean, we've been to varying extents for a while, but the seizure of a sovereign leader for what, a show trial? Are we just going to enter him into our court system? What the fuck? Venezuela's about to become another Haiti? Honestly, not impossible. Okay, if they really took Maduro and his wife, they have no intention of giving him back. They fully intend for him to either spend the rest of his life in an American prison cell or to die here, like executed. Which means they have to be planning for his replacement in Venezuela. But I would be really surprised if they've done the groundwork to make sure that stupid bitch takes power. What's her name? Like, I sincerely doubt that we have the foreign policy acumen, the clout, whatever else. Maria Corina Machado, yeah. Non-zero chance that Maria is appointed by Trump as president. Yeah, she's going to appear at Mar-a-Lago and accept Trump's official announcement that she's president of Venezuela. Non-zero chance. Honestly, like 50% chance that happens. I would say that's a coin flip right there. I'm seeing reports that generals cut a deal. Masaigu, link it. You can't just say that. You have to link it. Generals cut a deal and basically let them take Maduro. Yeah, that's a very real possibility. It would explain how they were able to get him out that easy with minimal combat, you know. But I don't think the generals are, well, the generals are in it for themselves, and the cartels are still getting what they want, even if Venezuela is opened up to American business exploitation. So there's no way, man. If they really do try to appoint her as president, they're going to fucking kill her. Like, Maduro has stayed alive this long because of his systems of patronage. He appoints close advisors and family members to positions of power. He's paranoid. He keeps himself safe. If he really has been given up by his generals, what's the first thing Maria knows going into the presidency? That her generals will sell people out if it's convenient to them. Like, she is not smart or well-connected enough. If she was, she would already be president. It's not like Maduro's been doing a good job, you know? It delegitimizes her from the get-go that her ascension as the people's leader in Venezuela had to be facilitated by U.S. military intervention. It makes her look bad. It makes it look like she can't possibly be the savior of the Venezuelan people. Why did she need Trump's help? But she's been leaning on Trump for you know, the entire past year. It makes her look weak. And if she looks weak, and if she's not popular, then one of the generals or one of the cartel leaders or someone else in a position of power is going to replace her. It's just going to create a power vacuum. Everything's going to be up for grabs. It could actually turn in like a Haiti situation. It could turn into like a Haiti, fucking Somalia, you know, Sudan. I mean, like a failed state. It could be. Might not. So wait, the Chinooks landed, took Maduro, and left, or did the strikes happen first, then the landing, then the takeoff? I mean, we don't know the exact timeline. It's U.S. Special Forces. We can assume they're competent. They're probably, especially if they were helped by the Venezuelan generals, it's reasonable to assume that they're competent and can, you know, get it done. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how they got this done. Listen, if they were able to coordinate with people in positions of power in the Venezuelan government, what they did today is not like super exceptional. It's crazy, not in that it's difficult to do, but rather in that it's an insane thing to do. An unbelievably insane thing to do. Venezuela's headless right now. They also have a VP. Doesn't matter. Maduro was a strong man. It's not a real democracy. Why replace her when they could control her? Because they're also ambitious. It's not just a self-interest thing. Bro, the oil exec's so happy right now. It's not even profitable, man. Oh. It's kind of insane because now every leader of the country will have to consider this possibility of this happening to them. It's so destabilizing. Like, America and the Soviet Union could have, at any point during the Cold War, assassinated or kidnapped basically anyone on Earth, right? We were the two superpowers, and we had all the nukes. Anywhere in the world, Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia, it doesn't really matter. If we wanted somebody dead or gone, we could do it. But even in countries where we wanted that done, we didn't usually directly do it, right? Like, we would back militia groups, or we would we would engage in some level of subterfuge, you know, Kissinger shit, right? It wasn't all Vietnam War. It wasn't all direct assassinations. A lot of it was, what if we just, you know, gave some aid to these people? What if we gave some guns to these people? Iran-Contra scandal, all that bullshit. But this, just marching special forces into a capital and announcing it immediately. And it's such a wild imbalance in the level of overwhelming dictatorial power that the administration has, where we can apparently do whatever we want to foreigners. Like, if you're in a different country, we can bomb you, kill you, we can do anything. We bombed like 7 countries in the past year, or whatever. We just randomly strike. You know, we can threaten to attack anyone, Canada, Greenland. It doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want. No limits, you know. But over here in the United States, the case brought against like Letitia James or James Comey, you know, these attempts by the Trump administration to legalize the justice system or weaponize the justice system against their political enemies immediately fell through. Like, the Trump administration is completely incapable of doing anything to silence its political opposition domestically. But abroad, I guess they can just do anything. Are you ready for the insane amount of coke Carolyn Levitt's going to have to perform in the morning when the press pool asks? No, because the press pool is just going to say, like, the press pool is not going to hold Carolyn Levitt's feet to the fire because they're all complicit. I promise you they're not going to make her job tough. Can you shed some light on what countries neighboring Venezuela think of this? Nobody likes it. Surprise, surprise. Foreign The Latin American leaders do not like the idea of America being able to just yoink anyone they want. If the Soviets won, would things be better off? I don't fucking know. Probably not. America and the Soviet Union were like fucking dark reflections of each other, okay? They were a mirror and the reflection that you saw in it, and it was the dynamic between the two of them that created the conditions that set the world as it is. If the Soviet Union won and America had lost, it probably in the long run would have run basically down the same line, you know? The Soviet Union would have had the exact same crisis of production. They would have capitulated towards capital ownership because they were revisionist basically from the day the Soviet Union was formed. Like Lenin gave up on communism pretty much the nanosecond he turned on the anarchists and the workers' councils. Like it all would have run down. Again, it's historical materialism, okay? Not to say the future is inevitable, but we are definitely following like a river, you know? I can't tell you the exact path the canoe that we're on is going to take, but I can tell you that there's a fucking waterfall like a kilometer down that way, and there is no amount of paddling back up the stream that's going to, you know, keep you away from it. Fuck Maduro and Syria, lock them up, lose the key. I don't think that America should be the world police, actually. No matter how much you dislike Maduro and his wife, I really don't think that we should be the... This is like fucking celebrating Jews who died in the Holocaust because you knew one of the Jews and he was like a shitty guy. Like, you can't defend the system just because like a specific outcome within the system's abuses is like perceptibly justifiable, right? That comparison was ass. Sorry, I'm an internet politics guy. I have a very small number of references in my, my utility belt. Also, I'm tired. It's 2 a.m. I really didn't expect to be here right now. North Korea sweating right now? Nah, Trump likes Kim. The only equivalent is the Soviet coup on the president of Afghanistan in 1979. They did a similar thing where Soviet special forces stormed his presidential compound and nabbed him like they did Maduro. And famously, in the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, after that nabbing, everything went really well for the Soviets. As we all know, afterwards, it was smooth sailing. Any chance China uses this excuse to attack Taiwan? I doubt they would use this as an excuse specifically, but like, we are contributing to an international environment of instability, right? Our continued defense of Israel, despite their open, flagrant crimes, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, bit by bit, we are wearing away at the post-Cold War idea that there should be some kind of order to the movement of nations, right? Russia was the big one, and then Israel, and now the United States. In terms of like massive, flagrant, recent violations of the international legal order. Obviously, this is not the first time we've done this, but I mean like in recent, like in the past decade, this has been the cascade, right? Russia's invasion of Ukraine, insane. Israel's genocide of the Palestinians, insane. Our defense of them doing so, insane. Us kidnapping Maduro, insane. It goes beyond just, crimes abroad. Hey, Vosh, apparently it's common sentiment in Venezuela for them to want an invasion from America. Can't imagine the mindset. Yeah, well, a lot of Americans say shit like President Xi, fire the missiles when ready, okay? Please do not extrapolate from the shit posts online that you hear gringos talk about from a foreign perspective to be like implicit endorsement of actual U.S. military intervention. Current and former Venezuelan officials charged with narco-terrorism, corruption, drug trafficking, and other criminal charges. Yeah, but like, okay. This was Trump's DOJ. I mean, they would have to like, it's not easy to file charges and prosecute somebody. That's why Trump keeps failing to do this, you know?
Days and hope to get a better minute-by-minute understanding of what took place before dawn, even as we anticipate the sun to rise shortly over Caracas very soon. stay with us. We're going to want to revisit with you, obviously, as we continue with our developing coverage here. I want to get very quickly, as we come close to the top of the hour, back to our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel. Richard, you heard from Will Freeman there detailing what the United States Southern Command had said only a matter of days ago. I think it was back in December, where they said there were about 15,000 U.S. forces who were...
Venezuelan defense minister posted a video statement. Oh, okay. He lived.
Buenos días, pueblo heroico de Venezuela, soldados y soldadas.
Now, I'm noticing that this is not in English.
La patria, hijos e hijas de Bolívar. La Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana, para la cual estamos ya levantando lejos de una lucha por la libertad. Nosotros, que extendemos la mano en hermandad, hoy cerramos
very inconsiderate to English speakers who might be watching.
There in the region, the president described them as part of a, quote, massive armada. As he said, the U.S. is in no position, though, with that number to sort of control Venezuela were that necessary. And he detailed this sort of fork in the road we now face about the potential, perhaps, for a Democratic-led government, but also the real concern and fear that the vacuum could be filled with others sort of in the image of Nicolas Maduro, who share his view, his condemnation of the United States.
His condemnation. Oh, I would hate that. I would hate for Maduro's absence creating a power vacuum, for him to be replaced by a guy who shares his condemnation of the United States. What a fucking transparent way to admit the only thing this is a political attack. You know, it has nothing to do with crimes or narco-terrorism or defense of the Venezuelan people or anything like that. Literally, just we want an agreeable leader. Jesus fucking Christ. They don't even bother to hide it, man.
Well, I think he...
In a little over 5 hours, the president is holding a press conference from Mar-a-Lago talking about this. I have to be up for it. I gotta go. I need to be responsible here, okay? That's a tough call for me sleep-wise, but I'm gonna do my best. I'll try my best to be on time. Quick nap, then back at it, yeah. All donations I'll read tomorrow, probably. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I wish it was under better circumstances.